This is the place to be.
Yeah. This is the place to be. Yeah. Innovation Days.
Good afternoon, everybody. As I just told my guest Sasha that I will talk to in a few minutes, I'm so pleased that he was so fast in responding to my mail. It would make my life so much easier if everybody was so fast and responsive. So Sasha, welcome here on Inkish. It's great to see you.
Thank you so much, Morten, for having me.
OneVision. It's a company that, when I met your colleague Stefan many years ago in Stockholm, I think it was, I was so stupid that at that time I thought that OneVision was only in the newspaper business. And then I realized that, okay, you came from the newspaper business and is today, I would say, a very comprehensive software suite of business applications, right? Maybe just before we get to start to talk about Hunkeler Innovation Days and all the things we're going to see, maybe give me a 360 degrees about what is it you offer and why is that interesting?
Yes, thank you so much, Morten. Always great to be associated to something, because the newspaper business is absolutely, it's our legacy core solutions we brought to market. We still have today more than 80% of the market share, so it's quite impressive. Yeah. It's one of those businesses which enabled OneVision Software AG to grow extremely fast, to have a parent company that has the availability of being on 5 continents, and also the opportunity actually of now looking into its new markets. Since the last 15 years, we have invested in towards different segments and different verticals, from the label industry towards actual PSPs with the availability of looking in towards commercial print applications, book automation solutions, and of course wide format solutions, which are our leading solutions today, whereas we have a very, very good market share and presence and absolutely awareness of the market of a go-to, get-to-go solution for OneVision.
That was, it sounded almost like you prepared on that presentation, right? So you know your products, right? That is super good. I was just wondering because, when you come from, let's say, a segment and you have all the years developed into all these other segments, I guess that you can take a lot of, let's say, knowledge and put into the different silos and reuse some of these things. But if you look at it, you're involved in the sales process, but if you look at the product itself, is it very easy to because the more silos you address, the more you also need to know about each silo. So how easy, difficult is it to sell?
That's a key question. Thank you so much, Morten. So it's we identify ourselves as a middleware. So we connect the dots in a very complex type of mainframe or framework of individual solutions, be it hardware or software. Even substrate-wise, we don't make a differentiation. So we have the expertise and the know-how to interconnect both hardware from the availability of looking into its printing solutions, finishing solutions, but also shipping logistics solutions of how to interconnect all of those together. But then on top of that, the software layer, whereas every single solution, just from a legacy perspective and how most of the hardware vendors have sold and tried to sell also them a sort of end-to-end solution. Then they come in with their own software solution as a layer on top of the hardware sale. And then you create these sort of ILOs, these island solutions left and right. So what OneVision has always tried to do is, first of all, to create a harmony around that and a completely neutral harmony, whereas we can interface and interact in bi-directional communication with both hardware and software solutions on site at customers. But on top of that, we've now created also with AI and computer vision technology, an app that enables us to actually identify individual printed products without even having anymore a barcode on top of a product itself. So all the automation goes now even a step further from just creating the print file through OneVision with all the pre-press automation, the automatic corrections, the color management, all those things we have been able to master for 15 years now. And now we go the next steps in Strupa.
Pretty amazing. Before we're going to talk about, because I think that's super nice. So I will get back to that in a second, but I was just curious about one thing. So when you talk about yourself seeing more as a middleware, that means that, let's say that you buy one press where you have like one workflow system that actually works super fine with that machine, and then you have, let's say, a paper handling system from some vendor that makes that happen very well. Then you can integrate everything into your platform to enable that two-way communication, so you can take the best of all breeds. Basically, is that how it works?
Exactly, yes. So it's really this middleware, whereas then, for example, if we concentrate, for example, on a printing solution, we concentrate on the ripping solution of the printer, and we interconnect with the ripping solution. We already standardize, make the file print ready, reduce the actual time of ripping itself. So we can, depending on which type of ripping is used, we can already adapt the file, have it corrected, and really efficiently gone through the system. Same thing goes for finishing solution. The same thing goes for bidding or logistics application. So it goes really, really far, and it takes into account all attributes of the individual hardware or software and integrates with it. It doesn't actually take it out completely. It could, but it actually, in the idea first, is just to find first a harmony, and then from there on gradually move upwards.
I mean, so if I mean, I think it's always like when you invest in something, whether let it be hardware, software. I think that humans are made so it's sometimes easier to put things in boxes to understand where it is. But it seems to me that OneVision software is not like it's not easy to put it in one box, right? But if you should compare it to something else that people understand, where are we in the world? Because it's not an ERP system, right? It's not an MIS system. It is something that connects all these kind of things. But is there any box where it belongs to?
Absolutely. It belongs into pre-press Industry 5.0 automation. So it is a software that enables you to create all these amazing artworks that all these creative minds have brought to market and want to make actually reality, be it 2D or 3D. And we take this artwork and we then enable it, depending on whatever printing, finishing solutions you use, to then adapt these artworks so that they can have the best quality and the fastest way throughput through the actual production. And on top of that, we're still being led by an MIS system, which tells us exactly what is the order number, who does it go towards, how many quantities there are. So the moment we get the structured data in, actually to OneVision, then we just go automatically recuperate the artwork and then make it actually reality.
And that makes sense. It also makes sense when we refer back to the legacy, because on the newspaper side, you had a lot of inputs in files and advertising and different editorials that needs to fit together. So I guess that's part of the legacy of bringing that. Does that mean that your customers are often very involved in let's say, in the design processes as well, or is it who is your typical customer, you would say?
So first of all, yes, absolutely. Our customers have an incredible. They have enabled us to have these milestones of being able to evolve and adapt to the market, because we listen very closely to our customers. We adapt our solutions to our customers. We never make a one-to-one software solution. So every single time we enable a new feature. Well, every single time we tailor something towards a customer, we always make it mainstream and integrate it as a standard into our solutions. That is an extremely important part, because everybody else grows with the OneVision platform as such. Our normal customers are anyone who does industrial printing applications, ranging from an implant towards the actual PSP that you would have anywhere else, or even a POS application, so a point of sales management application, whereas you have 2,000 individual stores and you want to create from your price tags to your individual rack of products that you want to put on, to the wrapping of the individual windows or vehicles. All those can be types of customers that would use OneVision to automate their workflows.
Before we're going to talk about the new things and Hunkeler, just a question is, I mean, with all the capabilities that you talk about here, it sounds a little bit to me like that you need to be a relatively big company to take on both the software and its capabilities, and maybe also from an investment perspective. Is that true, or can you scale it to very many different types of businesses?
Scalability is a key factor. So we look at the merits of each case with our customers and look at where are they at right now in their growth phase. the scalability is one of the key points, whereas we enable our customers to scale up their operations dramatically. And it's not about actually reducing the headcount, it's about assigning the headcount that you have available and you are able to maintain in your company to do those things which have a high profit margin, a high value add in the entire production process. And all the tedious, manual, and repetitive tasks, do them through OneVision, and we take care of that for you in a automation workflow perspective. We have the availability of actually selling the software, or you can rent the software, you can have a click charge model. There's so many different business models behind it, but it really depends on who you are from a perspective of a size, from a perspective of a segment. For example, implant customers, they don't look in purchasing by clicks. But when you look at another company that says, oh, I don't want any CapEx investments anymore, I need to do it by click charge, then of course, every single time the sales process and the business model changes and adapts.
Smart. Super smart, actually. So when companies approach you interested in learning about your value proposition, do they often come and say, we're looking to buy a new MIS system and that's why we want to talk to you? Or I mean, you spoke about the box, but again, let's say that you're in a supermarket. Which shelf should I go to in order to put you in the basket? So where is the typical starting point for people to get involved with OneVision?
Good question. So the supermarket analogy is going to be difficult to relate to, but let's say that you go into supermarket, you get a little scanner, and it actually tells you, for example, the price, or it tells you, for example, if there's a promotion on something and identifies a product. That's already us. So there's already where we come in. So we can identify.
You tied that well together, I must say.
we are already identified. But actually, when you look at your individual product and there's a label on it, that's again us. We have been able to actually make that label in 1,000 or 1,000,000 quantities. We've been able to adapt it for laser cutting, trapping, and the availability of actually or die cutting solutions, and able to not only print but actually then finish this individual label that goes on top of a bottle. When you look at, however, when you go to the checkout counter and then you have all these individual products put together and then assembled together and say, okay, this is product A and this is the cost and this is for that customer, that's the MIS that then takes over. So we are in between from the actual order entry to the exit and checkout in your supermarket, and we are really in the visual side of things, in the actual automation of the production workflows, be them pre-press or actual post-press.
Okay, so that means I'm just trying to understand exactly where to go. So the people that contact you to buy OneVision is not necessarily looking for a new MIS system, but they could be looking for a new MIS system. That's basically what you say, right? So if they have a well-functioning MIS ERP system, but they want to have the automation for all the things we spoke about, on the, let's say, connecting all the dots, then that's where OneVision comes into play, right?
Absolutely correct. Yes, and the thing is that the MIS enables us to have structured data. So it enables us to have a clear understanding of what data comes in, how it needs to be processed. If there is no MIS and there's just an e-commerce platform, we can also connect to it. But then the scalability factor is enabled if you combine these three sort of software infrastructures, which is having an actual point of sales, which is your e-commerce website, for example, then having an MIS, which consolidates all the data and then sends it out to us, and then we taking over for the production side and feeding back and forth to the MIS. And that's how your business grows and how the business growth can be sustained on a long term.
And of course, then returning to what you spoke about with the image recognition and AI, that makes a lot of sense, because if you want to utilize a sheet to the maximum and you have a lot of different objects on it, then obviously you don't have space for too many QR codes. You basically, so what you say is that with your capabilities, you can basically say that I take a photo of this job, and then I can match that up to the job data because I can recognize the data from my pre-press side. And therefore,
Exactly.
You can basically avoid having tedious, let's say, barcodes and QR codes and whatever in as part of that let's say value chain in the production side. So tell me a little bit, how does that work? Does it work with all types of products, or is it specific types of products that are better for this?
Yeah. So we call it the stations concept. And the stations concept is really just the availability of having an iOS or Android app and installed on an iPad or an actual mobile phone, a camera-enabled solution that enables you not only to identify barcodes as it would in a general, but actually the pattern and the actual object that is printed. And it just overlays it actually on the specific printed jobs that we, exactly like you said before, were actually identified in the pre-press. And so we identify it, we give an order number on the app immediately, we say whose customer it is, when it was due. But we have on top of that the availability that the customer configures the station's app towards each individual station. So he can tell, this is, by the way, a picture. I need to take a picture right here of this individual object and do an automatic quality check, for example, at station 1. And then the station 1 is going to say, perfect, quality is good. Now let's go to station 2. And this is station 2 is automatically then again a prompt for the individual operator to know where he needs to go next. It guides him, it tells him what to do, it goes through an individual checklist, and then on top of that, if the operator gets somehow confused or something happens in the production process, he loses one object, he goes back to the object, takes a picture of it, it tells him again which object it is, what order it corresponds to, and where to go next. So this is the beauty of this app, and it is completely configurable by the customer himself. So the Stations app is more than just a sort of identification tracking tool, but also a guidance tool for the production itself, and all based on the availability of also identifying objects that don't have any barcode solutions on top of them.
Before we turned on the camera, we spoke about how I think a lot of software today has grown like iterations. You typically release maybe a major version every year or every second year, and then you have sub versions in between. And then we also spoke about that with the release of, let's say, AI has been around for a long time, but AI as a even bigger buzzword than before. You say that has also kind of kickstarted some capabilities within OneVision software.
Absolutely.
Where is when you look at AI and see that as something that can also help your customers, we are not talking about that you integrate to like ChatGPT or Copilot or something like that. Is that some AI that you develop yourself, or is it specific to graphics arts industry, or what kind of AI are you utilizing?
Yeah, this is actually what OneVision is very proud to be able to say that we are completely independent from any third-party solution. So we own and have our own PDF library. We have our own AI solution. We have actually even the annotations of the AI solutions, which is based on our object recognition, skin tone recognition, background recognition solutions, which is called Amendo, which does an automatic image. How can you say that? It takes a normal image that you would want to have for your photo book, and you just click on Amendo, and automatically optimizes that image and creates an image that is to your liking, and that enables it to be really printed in the best possible version without you having to then do retouches and stuff like that that you would do manually. That is automatically done that. And that is now more than 8 years ago that we've brought this to market. And so AI has actually grown with us without actually ever us using these AI or large language models or other types of AI technology as a buzzword, but they're all in the software already. The color management tool, the automatic and smart decision-making tool of redirection of the individual jobs themselves, they all have in the background AI. It's our own AI. It doesn't go through any third-party software, but in the end, it's not advertised as a buzzword as such, and it's not like you would use it at home with ChatGPT and asking a prompt, write me a text on this, and that. It's really just that it takes in a completely natural way. How best would it be to process this individual file, or how would it be best to produce it, or identify an individual job that is not somewhere? And these all contain AI models behind them, but you as a customer don't see it, apart from the fact that it's just so user-friendly to use a little app, and all the mastodon of information that's behind it is incredible.
Understand that, and yet you said to me that at Innovationdays people can expect to see some really new. I asked you if it was iterations or revolutions, and I think we agreed on that it was revolution. So, what can people expect to see at your booth at Innovation Days?
Yes. So first of all, the fact of being able through object recognition to do to look at the stations app, that's number one, because this is available not only now for the production, but even actually for quality review. For when, for example, you apply and create something, and you apply it, for example, on a giant poster, you created an individual poster, or you do an individual book, and you want to do a picture of it and have a quality inspection and actual approval system from the customer automatically. All this will be able to be done through the Stations app. The availability of, we try to simplify the way that you use software, especially in the pre-press, because very often we heard all the time of the lack of skills, a skilled labor that is difficult to find, but it's not so difficult to find. It's how to actually retain this skilled labor and be able to make this type of job in the print world again interesting and sexy in one way or another, that they are excited. And so what we do is now is that also the way that you use the software is always we try to start at the end of the product. So what do you actually want to produce? Is it a book? Is it a business card, or is it a giant poster? And from there onwards, in the software guide you towards the final solution, with already in the back layer the whole infrastructure of what is your actual production capabilities and capacity. So in this, the OneVision software, there's a layer whereas you define all of your individual production solutions, and on basis of those we can then smartly direct and redirect on which one would it be best to actually then produce something. So these are the types of things we try to make those, how can I say that, those tasks which nobody's really interested in, and nobody wants to be losing time by doing this, and want to make each individual's operator, be it pre-press, press, or post-press, easier. Well, then use OneVision and be enabled with OneVision to have that smart interface. So that's what we will see at Hunkeler Innovation Days. No.
When you talk about the software, I have seen demos of OneVision at last Innovation Days, and I think what I see, it looks really great. Again, when you present something like a software, it's always like that. It's, I don't know how to phrase the question. Let me try anyway. It's just like when you see a software, it's like you never understand the complexity, what is inside the computer, because it's
a black box.
It's a black box, right?
Yes.
So you of course evaluate what comes out of it, and the scale and the speed and all those kind of things. But yet, when you go to a show like Hunkeler Innovation Days, you still need to be able to, let's say, convince customers to go into the next step of looking at how OneVision would actually integrate into your business, right? Mm-hmm. So what is the most, let's say, what drives people towards you? Because I understand the scope of a non-barcode QR code on image recognition. I understand that you have these silos, and I understand that you have the AI. I understand that you have the color corrections, the retouching things automated. I understand all what you've said here. But if you come and have maybe 10-15 minutes at a trade show, I think that sometimes you have very, very limited time telling people what is really the KPIs of a piece of software.
Absolutely.
So how do you prepare yourself for it?
We try always to have a sort of a 45-second elevator pitch, and then the rest of the time to understand the pain points of the customer. So based on this elevator pitch, we already try to have him bring us the information about pain points that he has with, for example, a non-uniform infrastructure, be it hardware and software. Those would be already the first one. The problem that they have to open up each individual file in PDF, Acrobat Reader, and this takes already a lot of time, and there's a lot of manual interventions in there. And the issue is that at the end, there's a lot of wastage. There's a lot of errors that are actually recognized way too late in the production process, whereas it's well, first already lost because you already started printing, you already have the substrate that goes back into the bin. And then also things like what happens? How many times do you actually lose an individual job, or how many times do you have changeover of operators? I mean, how long is the tenure of each individual operators?
Yeah.
Those are the types of questions we ask, and the moment we ask these questions and they respond into our favor, the moment we can then exactly tailor a solution towards their requirements and showcase to them how we can then solve each individual of these points. The moment that you just showcase an interface, a user interface, you lose a customer already, because he will never be able to understand the black box effect that's behind it, because
Precisely, yeah.
it's 240,000 lines of code that is behind it, and nobody wants to see 240,000 lines of code. It's just about the fact, what problem do you solve thanks to this code, and what is the actual solution to it, and how is it easy to use, not only from a prepress but actually from an operator perspective, and which problems does it solve along the way. This is really what we try to do at any actual event, because it's identifying and solving customer issues.
Last question, Sasha. Are you looking forward to go to Innovation Days?
Oh yes, my God, absolutely. Drupa was already exciting because it has been so long. Of course, the Hunkeler Innovation Days did also go through a lot of changes now, especially now with Müller Martini behind it. So let's see how that influences everything. So it's been fun. So it's going to be fun, and looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing all the partners, colleagues, and having this show that has grown every single 2 years over. Yes, it's the metamorphosis of the show is quite impressive, and especially it attracts the right people. It attracts the people that are interested, understand the industry, have a lot of pain points they need solving. So love to be there.
So you can call yourself Dr. Sasha instead, right? Because you're helping people with all the pain points, right?
Well, I honestly, I would call it Dr. OneVision, because I myself don't
OneVision,
do,
yeah.
but I can only identify with these, but then solving them, I will solve it to Dr. OneVision.
Okay, that is a good ending. Sasha, I look forward to see you and your team in Lucerne in just for 4 weeks or 5 weeks time from now. And thank you very much for being very responsive to this last minute interview, but it was fun talking to you and a great learning experience. I'm sure our audience will like what they have heard. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, Morten. Take care of yourself. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you too.